I got it! We'll sew Jared's head onto Jake's body.
Perfect! Greetings, and welcome to That Works, a DreamWorks podcast, and welcome to 2025 and the first of multiple releases for DreamWorks this year. We're covering Dog Man, a Dave Pilkey creation. He is also known for Captain Underpants, which came out, I think that DreamWorks was like 2016 or 17. We covered it here years ago. And DreamWorks has gone back into the Pilkey canon for this super pup.
Is that the name of the author of the books?
Dave Pilkey.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. D-A-V. There's no E.
Okay.
I don't know why, but I
he just likes it that way.
Yeah. So I believe Dog Man, around the time Captain Underpants came out, I think is when Dog Man started. It was in the middle of last decade. And they have now, about a decade later, brought it to the big screen with some pretty great animation, pretty, reminiscent of the Captain Underpants style. And the DreamWorks Dave Pilkey collaboration here works. And the movie is geared for people not our age. All of us here are in our 30s, so we are not the target audience. But it's part of the DreamWorks canon, and we have to cover it. So we also have Alita back with us again. She has been covering Pixar DreamWorks with us, and it's always fun to have you on here. Thanks for helping us talk about Dog Man.
Dog Man, the classic story. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. I will say, since I wasn't here for the Captain Underpants one, I grew up reading the Captain Underpants books. Okay. And as somebody who found out later in life they were neurodivergent, it makes a lot of sense that I liked the Captain Underpants books, because they're very much like hands-on. You're not just reading a book, you're doing stuff during the book. It makes you feel like you're part of the story. Flip-O-Rama, I believe, is what is part of that. So I kind of, going into Dog Man, I'm like, oh, I'm guessing it's probably some of that same kind of humor and style as the Captain Underpants movie was, and I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about it later on. But in all, it was, like you said, it's a movie that's more geared towards a younger audience.
Yeah, you bring up the neurodivergent angle. I can't speak for him, but I thought Dave Pilkey has talked about that. I think it's ADHD is what he has. It's something like that. Don't quote me on that.
They hold the characters is later named ADHD. It's the robot, because it's
that's
like this
right.
long name, and it's shortened down to ADHD. Which, to be honest, I wish they it didn't feel like they really did a lot with that, like a lot of jokes with that. It feels like, I don't know, I feel like they could have done more with that, but I don't know. That's me.
It was really just kind of the same joke over and over again.
It's just like, it finds stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like as ADHD, people don't really find stuff that often. We just lose stuff a lot more often than not.
So as a child, when you get to like the Flip-O-Rama stuff, that's got to be stimulating.
Yeah.
It was stimulating for me as a kid. I was like, this is cool. Once I figured out what to do,
yes.
I just stared at it like, what? It's like, put my thumb here, my what? Oh, I go back. I think I do that and turn the page and go, okay, and then just keep going. And then I think I was like 6 when I started reading something like that. And then once I figured out, oh, you're supposed to go back and forth.
Are you saying that the books are like a flip book?
There's parts
portions
of it. The action scenes, there'll be just the 2 pages, and so you just like that.
Oh, yeah, I'm old. I don't connect with any of this. This is not for me.
Yeah, you would have been, like, I don't know whether you're Captain. It was late 90s, early 2000s. So
and I don't know if I read it as soon
Captain
as it came
Underpants
out
was
either.
late 90s?
It's
Yeah,
like late
early
90s.
2000s.
So you were about in high school.
I was not 13 by that point. Mm-mm.
Yeah, and I think we mentioned that years ago when me, you, and Dickie talked about Captain Underpants.
In ye old 20th century.
Yes. So we all had to venture to a theater to see this. And I wonder for you, how was the screening? Because Jake and I were in there with couple groups with like a parent and a couple kids that were like 10 or younger, and they when they laughed, but there wasn't a lot of laughing. They weren't that loud. There were a couple times where they laughed, but
yeah, I remember the theater person as we were walking out saying that Dogman was the only thing that was selling.
Oh yeah, because
that
it was
day,
Because
anyways.
it's the family movie.
Yeah,
It's
so there's like nothing else big out.
We also
yet
went to
at
see
this
it
point.
in the middle of the afternoon. So
Yeah, on like a what was it? No, it was a Friday. I think.
was it a Friday?
Yeah, it was a Friday, but it was earlier in the day, which is when they usually are busier. But I think it did pretty well, box office wise.
I will say I went
else.
on a Friday evening because I was trying to, because it was either, because I just saw it this Friday, so it was either Friday or see it Saturday. I'm like, well, there's bound to be a lot more families if I'm going on like a Saturday morning or afternoon. So I was like, I kind of want to just go on I went on like 8:30 on a Friday night where there wasn't a lot of people. There was a few people there, but honestly, yeah, like you said, it was pretty quiet. There wasn't a whole lot of laughter or anything like that during the movie, but
yeah, it's certainly an entertaining movie.
See,
yeah.
Alita thought about it, unlike someone else who has been on this podcast that
you know
didn't
that story?
think about it.
No.
We've probably even mentioned it in episodes with you, and just all of us forgot. For Spirit Untamed, I saw it, and then I told Dickie, go see this with Sam. Don't see this by yourself. Just trust me. He didn't listen to me. He went in the middle of it. He's like, yeah, I was in there with a bunch of like young girls and their mothers. Like, well, yeah, you're seeing Spirit Untamed.
It's a horse.
I told you to bring someone with you so it wouldn't be awkward. He's like, well, it was fine. I hope he's listening.
See, I even took a horse girl to that movie, and she hated
Your wife.
Yeah. Well, okay.
It'd be pretty awkward if
Spirit,
it wasn't his wife. That he took.
The original Spirit is like one of her favorite movies.
Yeah.
Outside of the jumping scene.
She doesn't like the jump.
She was afraid of that.
That's why.
I would not say that makes it. That's a different discussion. And I feel like when she saw that, she's like, they just took a dump on my favorite thing. And I think that might be the first time she's felt like that with a movie.
That's how I feel about the upcoming live action remake of Snow White. But that's a different discussion.
I will say, though, there are times watching movies for this podcast that these are movies a lot of times geared for kids. This one, yes. I'm saying other times it's a little more everyone, but this one specifically, we both sat there like, I feel so old.
Yes.
I remember saying to you, well, my immediate reaction was that was a weird Garfield movie.
Yeah.
I was going to say, it's like I went and saw the Paw Patrol movie, you know.
It is kind of that same vibe.
Mm-hmm.
We got out of the theater and he says to me, because you second guess for one second, like, were we really that old? I go, Jake, we're both sore from sitting for 90 minutes.
I was like,
yes, we're old for this movie. You go, yeah, you're right.
Jared got right up, and as soon as my bones stopped creaking, I said, Jared, I think there comes a point where I'm okay with being old now.
His bones were creaking. My back was sore from sitting in those chairs. They're comfortable chairs.
Those chairs
but
don't usually hurt my back like that was.
Yeah, for some reason, we were just sore. Here we are, 230-somethings, standing up after seeing Dogman in theaters, just going, oh. It's like, yeah, we're too old for this. This is not our demographic. And that's one of the hardest things for these podcast episodes when it's on movies geared for younger audiences is like, how do we approach this? The Turning Red episode that you were on, that's a different thing where it's like, we need your perspective for that. But that's like you have the experience. Now this is like, this is like 2 generations younger than us.
Right.
How do we approach
Turning
this?
Red was more like had some deeper themes and stuff like that. This is very much surface level all the way through.
Yeah, I think that when I was making the comment about being old, I was more talking about the pacing and like.
Oh yeah, we'll bring that up.
Like, the humor in Turning Red is not for me because it is not about me.
Yep.
This was more, just every second was something new, and it was like,
It comes down to.
I have not felt like I was going to have a seizure quite like that since that one scene in Everything Everywhere
at the end.
Oh man, if I didn't look away from that, I was gonna.
Yeah, it's funny how when I've talked to people about Dogman, it's less about the movie and more about how the movie plays into the current narrative of mainstream animated kids properties because media gets faster with each generation because it has to, because the world moves faster because we're in the information age and everything is just so
social
fast.
Media, like things like TikTok, and like it feels like every like iteration of social media has like a short form video, whether it's stories or like YouTube shorts or like you said, like TikTok. It's like there's always things that it's like, well, I'm bored with this now. Let's go to something else. Let's go to something else.
Yep.
Let's go to something else. Go to something else.
Yeah, and we first mentioned it on here when we watched a Fairly Odd Parents episode with Dickie.
Oh, yeah.
And it was Crocker of Gold, and the pacing is nuts. It is so fast.
Is it an older one or a newer one?
Newer.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I really noticed, like, the pacing of things, just in general for media, is just getting faster.
You know what's funny about that, though? Like, I can remember a time, because Fairly Odd Parents is old enough to have been around when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I think it, for me,
more or less a kid, early teen.
You think you were in high school, but still, like, you're like 15.
So yeah,
I was that weird kid that watched cartoons in high school, for
same.
sure. So,
but that's everyone now.
well, yeah, but it's been around long enough for me to remember. I remember watching it in high school and not thinking that it was crazy like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
It's because it did get faster.
Yeah.
The older episodes are not that fast. It's a fast-paced show, but that episode that we watched was like twice as fast as like a classic episode of it that I would remember.
Okay,
Right. I'm sure there's like fast-paced ones, because the nature of the show is kind of fast-paced, to be fair. But I think, like you said, as time went on, they just kind of upped the ante with stuff, and things got crazier and crazier in that show.
I was going to make a comment about how my brain had changed, but apparently the show changed and I just didn't pay attention.
Maybe I think both. Yeah, I think there's something to say.
One thing I will say about Dogman is about the only good thing I have to say about it. Maybe not the only good thing, but I really did appreciate the animation. So it reminded me of a DreamWorks property that I used to play as a game on a computer when I was a kid called The Neverhood.
The Neverhood.
The Neverhood is a claymation game, but you can see how...
That looks familiar.
I've probably shown you...
Turn it to her.
All right.
Does that look familiar to you at all? Like, I've never played it, but that image looks familiar.
It's because the style is like how the style is on Dogman. And a couple
Maybe
of...
you can put... Is there a way to like edit a picture of that?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure. Yeah. Yeah, that can definitely. I agree. I like the animation style. I like that it's unique. Like you said, I think it works for the style of story. Obviously it's takes after the art style in those books. I will say one thing I liked about it. Probably the only thing I actually laughed at in the movie was the box of bees joke. That was funny.
There's a lot of good visual gags. There really are.
Yes.
That's just Dave Pilkey style too.
Yes,
like buildings are
that one like actually got me like.
Buildings are like literal names of things, and then just like he's funny. Mm-hmm. There's funny stuff in it. It's not for me specifically, or both of us were sitting there and neither of us were like gut laughing, but it is funny.
We both laughed pretty hard at the box of bees thing.
That was good.
But what I'm saying is overall, there's a lot of good funny visual stuff, but we didn't like gut laugh. We just kind of like smiled.
Yeah, like the abandoned warehouse thing.
Yeah, I like how in Petey's lair literally has this giant neon sign that says "This is Petey's secret lair" or whatever. Like it's funny visual stuff.
Yeah, it's good gags. Some good gags. But honestly, it got to the point where like it just wasn't stimulating enough for me, so I ended up being on IMDb most of the movie, trying to figure out who was what. Getting
on your phone during a movie.
In a movie theater.
I know.
The youth normally of today, I tell you.
But I did find out that Cam Clark actually voices that. What is it? The indifferent building or whatever.
Yeah, Cam Clark is one of those under the radar for people like us, voice actors, because they've done a million things and can do anything.
Most commonly known for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I believe. So. But yeah, I'm sorry. I apologize.
Like the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
I can't remember. I think it was one of the original ones, but I can't remember exactly.
So there's the 80s one, and then there's like the early 2000s one. Then there's like an early 2010s one. Then there's a recent one. I think there's 4 shows. That sound right?
I can't remember off the top of my head, but I just know he was in one of the original shows.
The original one, the 2002 one.
Yeah, which is what I grew up on.
Then the computer animated, the first computer animated one, and then
the recent one where they're all jacked.
The Mutant Mayhem one.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's 4. There's probably more.
That weird, but yeah.
So
back on that pacing though, what it does then is the first act of this movie feels like a whole movie condensed into like 20 minutes, because it's like, here's the setup chase with the bomb. We saw that in the trailers, and then like most of the trailer was in the first like half hour of the movie, and then once they sew the head onto the body and jumps out the door, it's like, okay, and then they have the montage of trying to stop Petey and all the good things, and builds up the mythos of this new hero in town. It's like, oh, we're going,
they
a mile a
this
second.
is the part that things speed up and things happen really quickly.
Yeah, it gets to the point where it's overload, and when the story slows down for a bit, when he goes back to the old home and sees the little flashes, I remember thinking like, that's actually a really interesting thing of his owner is dead, and he's like, the owner's body is his now, but like I know what you're gonna say in a second, but it's also like there's actually something interesting there about his owner's gone.
Yeah.
But then they don't do anything with it, and I know what you're gonna say. Go ahead.
For a long time in the movie, I didn't know, because it's a cartoon and because they're talking about sewing a dog's head onto a man's body, I didn't know if it was supposed to be like the man's memories or the dog's memories, or if it was just this like new thing. I got there eventually, but
it is confusing, to be fair.
Again, having no exposure to this other than the cover of one of my friend's kids reading it and them just loving it, I don't know what I'm watching.
And again, those kids are like high school age now.
Yeah, he's 15 now, almost 16.
Yeah, like this isn't even made just for them. It's geared at people younger than them, and then they're hoping to bring in that crowd that did grow up with them.
Yeah.
Like, we're kind of not in the line of sight at all.
No.
For our generation.
No, but we were totally in the line of sight for Spirit Untamed.
We were forced to watch that. Oh, just wait. The next movie in this series is going to be fun. The movie after that's at the end of this year is not going to be fun.
Wait,
we'll
what?
get to
you
that.
talking about bad guys too?
That's next. That's will be fun. The one after.
Yeah, I had more fun with the bad guys short.
I was gonna say the bad guy
before it.
short was freaking great.
Setting up that movie, which we'll cover here in a couple months. I think it's out in May. But I'm excited for that.
So
I'll
it's
just
coming at the
say,
end of the year?
yeah.
Just tell me that we don't have to cover the live action How to Train
Well, we
Your
don't.
Dragon. Yay.
The movie, I believe, as of right now, and the release schedule that's after Bad Guys in the chronology, is Gabby's Dollhouse the movie. I looked up what that was. That is like, yes, we do. It's part of this. We have to.
What is it? What is this?
It's like a kid show.
It's
that they're turning into a movie, and I saw the just look it up on your phone. You'll be like, oh no.
Gabby is a girl that has a bunch of cats. The cats shrink her, and they go into this dollhouse where they live with other cats. And it's about problem solving. It's really good for a 3-year-old.
Yeah, but now it's going to be a feature-length film that we have to watch.
Oh, no.
And that's the thing with DreamWorks that we've talked about. Like, yes, they have variety, and it is more interesting to watch through their filmography than Pixar's.
Yeah, but their variety used to be like original IPs. Like, who would have come up with B-Movie by it before B-Movie?
Only Jerry Seinfeld.
They'll go from like an actual like Wild Robot, like a really good movie that is for everyone, and then their next movie is some like little kid adaptation to make money, and then they'll go right back to a different thing. Like,
plus it's January. A lot of times January is known as the month to just kind of throw away movies, right?
Yeah, the dump month, whatever they call it. So yeah, that's after Bad Guys. So the next episode should be, we're hoping good. I wouldn't think it wouldn't be good, but the one after.
Based on the short, it seems like a lot of fun.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that short.
They've got the momentum there.
It's nice to have a little short in front of the movie for a kids movie.
When
the kids movie is not 2 hours long.
I miss that so much. I feel like I haven't seen a short in front of a movie in ages.
It's
Pixar
no
hasn't had one in
adventure.
front of their. I feel like Pixar doesn't do shorts.
Pixar doesn't do it. Yeah, because I was like, Pixar doesn't do that anymore.
What's the last one that they had a short?
They had that up short before Elemental.
Did they?
Oh, okay, so that's not that
Carl's
long ago.
Date.
I don't think I remember that.
It's where it's Ed
I saw
Asner's last.
Elemental.
Yeah, it's Ed Asner's last. One of his last things he ever did because he died recently, but
Was it in front of it?
it's where Doug helps Carl get ready for his date.
I believe that. Thought I saw it in theaters, but maybe I didn't see it in theaters.
It is also a separate thing on Disney Plus.
I know it's separate on Disney Plus. I'm trying to remember if I saw it in theaters or not, because I don't remember seeing the short. So maybe I didn't originally watch it in theaters.
I think before Elemental, not only did we get a couple, like 3 Pixar movies in a row that didn't go to theaters because COVID and Disney sucks. But then before that, I think they weren't doing it. They had like announced they were stopping, and then I think once.
Because wasn't the last one, wasn't it Coco? That was one of the last ones, right?
Olaf's Frozen Adventure.
Yeah.
Like a 30-minute thing was in front of Coco. 30 minutes. Like the bad guys thing was what, 5?
Yeah.
That's one thing. 30 minutes. Coco's already probably what, 90 to 100 minutes.
I mean,
and you add in the pre-show and you add in that half hour. That's well over 2 hours that those kiddos are sitting in there. And I bet you before Coco even ended, which is a much slower movie than most kids' movies. I bet you they're running around screaming.
Yeah.
Because they've been in there that long. They just stir crazy. So I mentioned how that first act is just really and once it slows down to focus on, we'll call him Robopup if we want to.
Robopup. That's cute.
He goes home. We get that scene. That's the tennis with the introduction of the tennis ball, which isn't important till the very end. But then he stops being the main character.
Yeah.
Because then it becomes about Petey and Lil Petey, which Lil Petey is the best character in the movie.
Yeah.
Because once he showed up, I go, okay, it's his clone, but of course it's. I saw it on the.
I saw it on the back before you
wait
read it
18
too.
years till adult. I go, okay, that's funny. But then Lil Petey not being like an annoying kid, just being a kid's like, why? Like an actual kid.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, this is gonna be fun. And I was getting some chuckles out of him, and he's the heart of the movie, and his relationship with his dad is like the whole
his dad
emotional
and
crux.
Dogman, honestly.
Yeah, and that's why it feels like, oh, Dogman's kind of become a secondary character in his own movie for like a good.
He
chunk
got his
of
own
this.
movie in the first 20 minutes.
Yep.
I was gonna say they have so many like story like plot lines that it's kind of like what you said. They keep getting distracted with other plot lines because we have Petey and him dealing with his own dad, and then Petey becoming a dad himself,
and then like, Dogman losing his job.
Dogman losing his job. There's
the
also,
love connection.
I was gonna say the random person that they're in love with, like the
reporter and
the cop.
Which
like,
okay, he was funny too.
He was
Lil
fine.
Ray, I think it's Lil Ray Howery.
Yeah.
I think is his name. I hope I'm saying that right. He was really funny.
That's probably something like in the books.
Sure.
Like an inside joke.
But it also could be multiple books.
Yeah.
So that's probably why the story feels stacked, because if you have one book that is his origin, I bet you the first 20 minutes is his origin story, and then they used a bunch of scenes from the books of him chasing Petey to fill out that montage, and then they incorporated a couple others, because wasn't Captain Underpants like 3 books in one?
Sometimes, a lot of times, it was a series of books, so there was lots of different adventures that they went on.
Because because the first
you're saying the movie was 3 books in one. Sorry.
The first
yes.
2 books, he does not have superpowers. He's just a guy running around in his underwear because he's hypnotized. But then he gets superpowers, and that's what the rest of the books are.
I honestly don't remember at this point. I didn't really remember the plot lines as much as I remember.
Give me a Berenstain Bears movie. Then I'll be invested.
I don't know if I'd want
Berenstain Bears.
There you go.
Mandela effect.
Yeah,
but anyways, I don't know if I'd want a Berenstain Bears movie in this
climate.
Because I'm afraid it would look terrible.
But you gotta just make Papa Bear the funny one like they used to in the 80s, because that's funny. I still laugh at that. We watched those 3.
Oh yeah,
for Bite Size, and I was sitting here laughing.
Was the East?
That's why
Easter
it's funny.
One.
You bring up this now. Give me a Berenstain Bears. It's like you didn't even like watching those.
I liked the ones that weren't the Easter one.
But that was the funniest one. I believe that's the one where it opens with him tripping down the stairs.
Yep.
He walks out and, Bulk, I told your mother to fix that stair. And I laughed really hard.
He did.
Give us
He
a
did.
movie of that. Yeah, he's right. I'd watch that.
I mean, the only thing I remember about Berenstain Bears is I had a game, like it was like an interactive game on my PC that I grew
Which
up
what was it? The dark one?
It was the one about because it was like a story, so you could interact with it. So it was like
an
the
interactive
brother and sister bear, like how they had this big argument. There's like this.
Get in a fight.
Yeah.
I had that too.
Yeah.
I can still see parts of it because it's the pages of the book, right? And you click on random things. I know exactly what you're talking about. We had 2 of them.
Yeah.
And that was the thing back in the day. It's like I'm reading on the computer.
But it's also a game, and I can do stuff. Yeah.
And you can click on characters, and they'll sing for you. Like in one of them, the librarian sings a song about books, and I can still sing it to this day. I don't know why.
The only library song I know is "Having Fun Isn't Hard When You Have a Library Card" from Arthur.
You never seen The Music Man?
Oh, sorry.
There.
Mary and the
I was
Librarian.
to say Mary and the Librarian.
I mean, a song about the library, I guess. That's about a librarian.
There you go. Having fun is okay. Dogman, RoboPop.
RoboPop.
Yeah, he kind of becomes pushed on the back burner because it focuses on Petey and Lil Petey for a lot of it.
It feels like it focuses on a lot of different things. It focuses on Petey. It focuses on, I guess, the fish. Because I guess there's a point where
That's right. We have a
I
secondary.
forgot about the fish.
We have a secondary
the
villain.
Gervais fish.
Yep, secondary villain that becomes the main villain at the end.
Yeah.
And them teaming up, it's like, yeah, I saw that coming. I'm not bothered by it. This feels like this is like the 4th book instead of like, you know what I mean? This
That's
feels
the
like
thing,
you need
too.
to build up to this.
Yeah. I think part of me was like, oh, it's a dog. It's a story about a dog, so of course the cat's the villain, which is kind of an annoying thing for me as somebody who likes cats a lot.
That's right.
It's annoying that cats are oftentimes the villains and things are seen as bad. Like
Because
in
they're
Disney.
evil.
Yeah.
They're not.
Their eyes are weird.
Evil.
Their eyes. That sounds like you're just judging them based on their appearance.
You're racist.
Probably.
I mean, they're kind of more like, if you think about it in this terms, like how dragons were in the How to Train Your Dragon universe. They're seen as these dangerous creatures
Which they still are.
Well,
But
and cats are too.
See,
Yes, because
But
cats will kill me.
That's funny.
that's not their fault. That's your fault.
As more of a dog
For being
person,
born.
as more of a dog
Your
person,
genetics.
I saw the dragons as in How to Train Your Dragon more like dogs.
I saw them more as. I mean, I think they're a combination of both.
Yeah.
And that and Stitch, because it's the same artist. But anyways, it was nice to see, like, cats, like, obviously the enemy of a dog is going to be a cat, which does make sense. But it was nice to see, like, kind of a redemption and the cuteness and everything too. So.
And then it took me the whole movie until I was like, oh, that's Pete Davidson.
I know.
I knew he was in it too, and I just didn't think. I was like, oh, yeah, that's him.
I kept forgetting, and I had IMDb open. I'm like, oh yeah, Pete Davidson's voicing Petey.
He did a good job. He did a good job.
He did fine. I don't know. I didn't think he did that great, but
I just because I didn't realize it was him, even though I knew he was in it. I was like, it
feel like
could have been a lot worse.
Could have been a lot worse. It could have been.
Yeah, that's and so then when Dogman's whole spiel comes back into view with the tennis ball, where he has to like sacrifice the tennis ball, I go, oh yeah, this movie is about him. Mm-hmm. Wasn't he trying to get his job back? Oh, yep. Then we solve it. It's like all these threads all just have to come together at the end, like they do, and it's all fixed because it's aimed at little kids, and it's fine. That's the thing. We come out of this. I think all of us are just like, yep, that was exactly what I thought it would be, and that's fine. It's not made for us.
Yeah.
But we're forced to cover.
We
it for
really
the
have to
series.
cover Gabby's Dollhouse. That's going to be worse than Spirit Untamed. Just so you're aware.
I will do it, as I didn't have to go through all the stuff that you guys had to go through. I didn't have to watch Spirit Untamed, but I will watch Gabby's Dollhouse if you want me to do it for that one.
Now we have to for sure. We could have lied, but now we can't lie. We've never lied before about watching. We've watched every one.
No. There's ones that Dickie hasn't watched.
No, he watched all the DreamWorks ones for his run.
Oh, it was Pixar, yeah.
Yeah, which one did he not watch?
Finding Nemo.
Which is his favorite one. I hope you're listening. He
So strange.
skipped
Of all the
it.
ones to skip,
He skipped his
Pixar,
favorite one.
He skipped Finding Nemo.
Do you know what his words were? I hope you're listening, Dickie. He said, well, I've seen it a lot. And we're like, it's not about, do you know what happens? It's more about watching it at this moment in time with the context of watching all the ones before it. You silly goose.
We hope you're having fun high up there in Denver.
You mention that about every week on Bite Size too. It's really funny.
High up there in Denver?
You mention him moving to Colorado quite a bit. I
miss him.
I miss him too. It's just funny. It's like every week he has to say something. Yeah, that's all I got to say. Oh, and then just like a lot of modern children's movies, the third act is very long, and a lot happens. It just keeps building because third acts are so long these days.
I forget where I thought it was going to end. And then it just didn't.
It just keeps going.
Yeah.
Because they're doing like because everything fighting in the town, and then it shifts to the volcano. Like that whole, like it's long. I bet you that's a half hour. That's a third of the movie is the climax.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the middle is a bunch of just kind of like jumping between a bunch of different things. And so
it's
Petey, his dad. It's funny because Petey's dad is voiced by Stephen Root, who is on a lot of Disney things like Gravity Falls and Amphibia and stuff like that. I'm like,
and his best animated role, Bill Dotree from King of the Hill.
I debate. I like
really.
I like his character from
Stephen Root.
I like his.
That's a very different voice.
Yeah, well, it's just Bill.
Oh.
Yep. I love Bill. He's so funny.
Yeah. So it was kind of cool to hear him.
Yeah. It's about shifting.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned the timing. It's like 20 minutes to set up Dogman, 40 minutes of storylines and meandering between them, and then 30 minutes of the climax, and that's and then you get like the minute or two at the end. I like the walking past things and like Lil Petey bringing up, and then Petey like is cynical about it, and then how you resolve that. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Then it just kept ending where he goes back. It's like, can we just end the movie?
Yeah.
Like that would have been a fine ending by the volcano. That would have been a fine ending. That would have been like just end it. It's not even that long. It's like 90 minutes exactly. Like can we just end it?
Yeah. So
that's all I really have to say. It's pretty average, aim for kids.
I think
DreamWorks movie with great animation.
Yeah, I was gonna say, as far as a kids movie goes, I'm not mad at it. It doesn't teach anything that's bad, and
it's not annoying.
It's not that annoying. It's not annoying really. So, yeah, it's fine.
Got anything to add, Jake?
I relate to Dogman because he plays the harmonica. That's about it.
That's fair.
And the piano.
It's true. I forgot about that.
Okay, so where do we put this in our DreamWorks ranking? This is the 49th one, and we're going to start at the B line for the 29th. Is this above or below the B line?
My gut tells me below.
I was going to say B movie is more entertaining than this movie.
If I go down this list, I think it sits right. I don't know whether it's above or below, but I think it sits right next to Captain Underpants.
I was going to say below Captain Underpants.
I can buy that.
Above Rise of the Guardians, below Captain Underpants?
See, that's the hard thing. Because Ride of the Guardians was more interesting to me.
So maybe below Rise of the Guardians then?
I liked Trolls World Tour better than this is too.
Okay. What about Madagascar 3?
I don't remember Madagascar 3
That's
enough.
the problem.
It's better than... Is it better than Abominable? I wanted so much more out of Abominable.
It's the other thing. We're years apart, and I think we even said this, like, we can say all we want when we watch them all within a year and we rank them, but then time treats them all differently.
I think Trolls World Tour, the thing that I think that sets it apart from some other movies is it has that kind of message that towards the end of the revisionist history message. So for me, although I like this movie fine, I think it goes below Trolls World Tour, above Madagascar 3.
I'd be okay with that.
I can buy that, yeah.
We're kind of in this mode of I'm kind of
because Madagascar 3 is about as like as crazy a story as almost as this is, because it kind of goes all over the place as well.
Yeah, 3.
Does Madagascar 3 have any sort of heart to it? Because that's the sticky thing.
There
like
was
you
like
said,
the
Trolls...
love story between Alex and like that like cheetah or whatever, and then there was the guy that like couldn't squeeze through that little tiny hole or whatever.
Bryan Cranston.
I know it sounds weird saying that out loud now, but it was like it wasn't a lion. It was like something where
He's
he
a
like covered
tiger.
himself in like conditioner or something.
He covered himself in something and he'd like ignite, and that's why he was scared to do it or something.
He had a bad accident and he.
Oh, the
Yeah.
cheetah thing.
Yeah, but remember, it's why, like the movie, they buy a circus, and they're like, we don't even know, and Dickie tried to argue, well, that's what makes it funny. I'm like, it just feels lazy. And the second movie has, the second Madagascar has...
Is Dogman really 2 words?
Yeah. I believe it is.
Go figure.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it does seem very short, but yeah, that is what it is.
I can't italicize on mobile. That's stupid. So yes, we are putting Dogman at number 36. Mm-hmm. And as we cut back to our main screen here, we are looking at changing up how we do our ranking. If you watch the Marvel series, we did a tier list. We are looking into doing that in the future, so stay tuned for future uploads for That Works in that department. Well, we'll let you know down the line what we come up with. But for now, that is the ranking you just saw. That is our ranking, and yeah, Dogman. Just had to say that. Robopup.
Oof.
Dogman.
So,
Whoa. Oh, can't do that no more.
I know we already did closing thoughts. Anything to add before we say socials?
Woof.
So, Alita, where can they find us?
Well, if you'd like to see any more from these lovely people here at Off Slate Media, you can check them out at Facebook, on X,
Formerly known as Twitter.
Instagram, their TikTok, which is, as I've been told, funny.
When we've uploaded.
And if you want more just audio, you can check out Apple, Spotify, and YouTube at anywhere pods are cast,
And iHeartRadio. I forgot to write that one down.
including iHeartRadio.
And check out our groovy website. I finally updated it.
It's been like 4 years.
I didn't know how to log into it because I didn't remember what website Dickie set it up on, but I remember what it is.
What is it now?
It's Squarespace. It was Squarespace.
You're not talking about the URL. You're talking about
no, the actual
the hosting.
Yep, the host. I was like, where did he put it? So the website's updated.
There's lots of cool
good.
pictures on it you can check out from the past.
Let's go see. I hear there's a picture of
things
Jared
started.
getting kneed in the balls.
There is.
Wow. Yeah.
Anyway, our next episode for this will be for Bad Guys 2. That I believe in May. So, and we'll have Alita back here with us then. But until then, this is Off Slate Media with That Works. Have a good one.
Goodbye. I got it. We will sew Jared's head onto Jake's body.
Perfect.
Oh, that was hard. I didn't blink. They took over Europe.
Yes.
Thanks, Neville. Sorry, old chap.
As soon as you clap that, though.
Oh, I know how it works. How does it start again? You don't work DoorDash, do you?
I don't.
So yeah.
Half an hour short film about these white people right before celebrating Mexican heritage.
I never thought about it like that.
Short film
And
was
praise be, Josh Gad's Hunchback live action is scrapped.
Yay!
Yes.
What? What is this? See that? That's hitting your balls.